Повторим. Hi, my name is Anna. Hi, my name is Anna. I'm co-founder of NoFrames, freelance platform for creatives. We focus on supporting and discovering rising talents. Today we are filming our 6th interview in the series of interviews with Scottish entrepreneurs. But before that, let's enjoy some rare occasion here in Glasgow, a sun. So right now we're in the city center at the George Square, and look how beautiful it is. And let's just have a minute and enjoy a sun. Hi guys, today we are filming our 6th interview in the series of interviews, and our guests today are Scott and Fergus from Revive Eco. Guys, thank you very much for coming, or we came here. So today, by the way, we at the RPS Accelerator, where guys have an office, and let's start from your team. Right now it's just 2 people. Is it just you, Scott, and you, Fergus, or somebody else?
So for a long time it was just Scott and I, sort of doing absolutely everything in the business, but just after Christmas there we brought on our first employee.
Ew.
So we brought on a chemical engineer that's now working with us full time. We've got another space in Cumbernauld, so he's working there, sort of optimizing our process that we've got based there, which is really obviously exciting for us to actually bring somebody on that we're now, I guess, paying and are responsible for, as much as it is a little bit scary, but it is really exciting for us.
We discussed with Chris Lawler, you know him, right? About employing people. It can be so scary because you have kind of responsibility to provide to this person enough job. You need to pay this person in terms of HMRC,
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of responsibilities as well. So as a company, what now you're responsible for? Is it like full-time employee? It's not contract?
Yeah. So he's full-time. He's on a contract until May, just because that's the project we're working on at the moment. That's when that runs up to. But I mean, our plan is to keep him on after that. He's a graduate from the University of Strathclyde, just like us, and I mean he's sort of outsmarts us in just about every department. So yeah, we've been very lucky with our first hire.
It's like artificial intelligence is coming. We created it and it's smarter than us.
Absolutely.
So guys, I know that this idea came to life from your university project. So you've been studying at Strathclyde University, right?
Yes. Yeah.
My alma mater as well, and Torina's as well. And you've been studying a business degree.
Yes, so we both studied in the Hunter Centre for Entrepreneurship, so I guess, the kind of clues in the name of the department. We were always kind of challenged to come up with kind of solutions to real world problems, and that was what kind of was the birthplace of the original idea for Revive. So it was a 2nd year kind of new venture creation innovation class, and we basically had a semester to work on kind of creating innovative solutions to real world problems that had a kind of environmental or social impact. And at that time everyone in our team worked in cafes and restaurants, so a kind of logical place to start was food waste. We started to look at coffee waste, and fast forward kind of 6 or 7 years, here we are.
You didn't remember our first project, food waste?
There you go.
So yeah, we had also first project. It was about food waste and how people handle food waste in Scotland.
Yeah.
And the situation is disastrous, and in comparison with Italy, where we both lived, and it's just absolutely new level. You probably know, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Scotland's certainly kind of leading the way, or one of the leaders.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, really? Well, that's interesting, I guess, because I guess, and so like we do a lot of stuff in the kind of circular economy space, and places like the Netherlands and Belgium and Scotland are always kind of in that group of kind of the ones leading the way. But I guess the fact that we do most of our work obviously in Scotland, we don't know how the likes of, you know, Italy and Spain and things like that kind of deal with their food waste. So that's interesting for us to hear as well. Yeah.
So in Italy, it's very well managed, and it's very strict in terms of how we collect this food waste, and they separate waste in many categories, as we do here as well.
Yeah.
But as I heard, here all separated waste anyway goes at the same place and mixed again.
Yes, sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of sad. But as I know, Zero Waste Scotland is working very hard to change the situation, and we'll see how it will go. And you guys make such a great effort to handle problems with coffee waste. So could you just briefly explain what you do?
Yes, so I guess to kind of rewind to the kind of start, the very first concept we had was basically take used coffee grounds and make a fertiliser, which we did on a small scale. We walked around Glasgow from cafe to cafe picking up bags of coffee at the end of every day, went round to our back gardens and mixed it with other materials and produced our first product, which was a natural fertiliser.
How many years ago?
So that was what, like 2012, 2013, 2014, yeah, so kind of like 5-6 years ago. What that did do for all, it never had the kind of scalability or the impact that we wanted to create, but what it did do was show us that cafes and the industry was looking for more sustainable solutions. So at that point we kind of knew that if we could get maybe a slightly better process that we could then scale, we were building something that people wanted. So where we are today is developing processes to extract the natural oils from used coffee grounds. So these oils have uses in cosmetics, food and drink, pharmaceutical products. So one of the grand aims for us is that we can produce a sustainably sourced alternative to materials like palm oil. So palm oil
is such a shame, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you can? What the percentage you're aiming to replace of usage?
I mean, I think that's a really good question, and it's one that we are sort of been toiling with for a while. Obviously, we would love to replace anything that's all unsustainably sourced oils. The fact is that whilst palm oil is, you know, thought of very poorly at the moment, and it's in the press for all the wrong reasons, it is, on the other hand, one of, if farmed sustainably, one of the most sustainable and highest yield vegetable oils we have. The unfortunate thing is that the demand for it is just so high that it's impossible to create it sustainably at the moment. So our aim isn't to replace palm oil, it's just simply to take the strain off the palm oil industry, to allow it to calm down and to begin sustainably producing palm oil again, because for a long time it's just unfortunately the demand from food and drink, cosmetics, as Scott said, pharmaceutical industries have just gone through the roof for it because it is so cheap to produce. And yeah, I mean, in terms of the amount of coffee grounds in the world in comparison to the amount of palm oil, I think even if we collected every kilo of coffee, we would struggle to replace palm oil anyway. But yeah, as I said, that's our plan, is just to sort of take the strain from these industries rather than just strain off these industries rather than replace them completely.
That's great. I even know some people who don't use cosmetics just because we use palm oil. I mean, they specifically, intentionally choose the cosmetics which as an ingredient. So it's a big problem, and if you say that it can be sourced sustainably, it would be great if you could help with that. So you guys hit the right spot.
Yeah, I think it's amazing for us to see exactly what you were saying there, the fact that consumers are looking it's not just the kind of the finished product. They're looking at the supply chain. They're looking at what other materials are used, and they're looking for more ethical, transparent brands, and that for us is amazing because as consumers, that's what we like as well, and obviously we are trying to build a company that kind of meets that demand as well. So it's nice to see that consumers are using their kind of buying power to try and influence the way that big companies make their products.
Sustainable companies now and sustainable startups now are hitting the right spot. I just noticed Sofa for Life.
Yes, yeah.
Did you see Sofa for Life? Yes, just there.
It's very comfortable.
The sofa.
Yeah.
We can try.
Yeah.
We will record.
Me sitting
Melissa
there.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect idea. Yeah, we just had exploration day with SIE.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
You had the same probably like
Yeah.
2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
How many years ago did you have it?
I mean, we haven't done anything specifically with SIE for a couple of years now. And I remember we won. There was a competition called the Young Innovators Challenge, and I think we won that maybe in 2014.
I think we walked out our last ever exam at uni, I think, and had an email that said, "You've won Young Innovators Challenge." So that was quite a nice, like, double bonus of finishing our exams. And
When the idea started, what year was that?
So the original class project was in 2012, but we founded the company in 2015.
Yeah.
And I guess the concept as it looks now probably wasn't till maybe 2017. The first year or two was focusing on that kind of fertilizer from coffee project.
And your initial team, so now it's just 2 co-founders, and your initial team, you had a girl, right?
Yeah.
So Rebecca, right?
yes, so when it was part of the kind of group project, it was a group of 5, as with all university groups. And then when it got to the point of kind of finishing uni, 3 of us wanted to found the company and like pursue that kind of as a full-time job. And Rebecca's since kind of gone on and followed other opportunities, and I think is having a lot of success and fun doing different things. And the 2 of us have been kind of keen to kind of continue to pursue Revive and try and kind of continue to build it, and at a point where we're building a team and things, which is quite a nice kind of milestone for us to be at.
Is it difficult during the journey losing team members? When Rebecca decided to leave the company, was it a difficult, tough decision for you guys, or you were like, okay?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I mean it was Rebecca. She, I guess, had come to us saying that she was no longer kind of, I guess, enjoying the route that we were going down. I guess it maybe wasn't what she had pictured, the direction that Revive was going at that point. And it's, I mean, I knew Rebecca from primary school right through university. I've known her. We lived 30 seconds around the corner from each other. So obviously there's an added kind of stress to that, because obviously there's friendships and things there beyond just business partnerships. But I mean, it was a totally amicable sort of situation that ended fine. It was just a kind of, it's not nice to kind of ever have to go through that sort of thing, but it wasn't in any way kind of, it hasn't necessarily damaged anything.
Also, when we started the company, we were friends, and we started as friends, and we were starting this company, we were like, it's not the best idea to start a company with your friends. In Russia we have saying. From the beginning we were like, okay, let's set the rule that the friendship is the most important, what we want to keep and protect, and business is business, it's good and nice, but friendship is, how many businesses you can have during your life? A lot. How many startups you can start? A lot. But friendships has to be protected. So it's one of our company values is protecting our friendship. How do you deal with protecting your friendship? Do you have like shareholder agreement which says something, if Fergus tomorrow will decide, okay, I am gonna get married and move to Brazil? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, so I mean, yes, we have like shareholders agreements. So we have external investors just now, and when you go through that process, you obviously want to have shareholders agreements and articles of association. But kind of what we always say about contracts is, I guess, any work that a lawyer does for you is they're almost planning for the worst case scenario. So you hope to never have to go and refer to a shareholders agreement. And I guess kind of what were just touching on there, like our attitude both internally in the business and externally is that if we can have strong relationships with people and people know what we're doing and we're transparent and they can see the journey we're trying to go on, that's a much better way of kind of maintaining partnerships and friendships and relationships that can work both, you know, within our internal team, but also with customers and partners. And if at some point stuff was to go south, you know that you have contracts in place that you can refer back to in the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to think about being respectful. It's what we discussed with Rina, that if you respect your shareholders, your partners, customers, everything's gonna be fine. Just be respectful and thoughtful.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have now external investors.
Thank you. I felt like we needed a clap after it. Yeah.
Probably you're not gonna share who is the person, but was it at which stage of the business you're like, okay, now we're ready to sell out our shares for some money? And can I ask how much money? Do you share this information?
So, I mean, in terms of the stage we were at, we were just getting into the start of the project that we're working on at the moment, which is to create a technology to strip out the oils from the coffee grounds. We were going for grant funding from Zero Waste Scotland. They got us.
Congrats, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very
it's
much.
Like 200,000.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Have you already bought yourself like nice yacht or something?
Oh no.
No,
I wish.
That'd be nice. So, in order to access that grant funding, we needed private investment to co-fund it because they only provide up to about 70% of the project costs. So we needed to find that other 30%.
Okay.
So we knew that we needed to probably raise private investment. We weren't necessarily. You could also get debt funding in, but we weren't necessarily wanting to take on that kind of risk at that point. So the resource management company that we work with that does the collections on our behalf, they're owned by a larger company, and we were introduced to them in terms of looking for investment. And it's ended up that it's been sort of board level individuals from within these resource management companies that have actually privately invested in us, which is really obviously great for us because it's their own money on the line to invest in us rather than like company money. And they've got amazing experience in, you know, the waste management industry and building sort of and scaling companies like ours. So yeah, it's been a kind of a win-win, I guess, both from the cash and the experience point of view.
You've been in Rising Stars, right? And are you also involved Strathclyde University as the additional investor?
No. We were looking at potentially co-funding it with maybe the Strathclyde Entrepreneur Fund or but the guys down south were willing to put up the full amount. Okay. So
great.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys. It's cool. Are there grant support awards? I mean, you went through quite a few, you received quite a few awards. It's really cool.
We spent a lot of time at the start just applying for awards just to try and get our name out there and get a bit of credibility,
About my favorite one is Green Champion by Scottish Power. It's been like very many years ago, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But I just like the name Green Champion. What was the most difficult award you received? I mean, or grant applied for?
I think in terms of the kind of process, the Zero Waste Scotland grant was the most kind of time consuming and probably the most rigorous application, as you would expect, because it's a lot of money and it's public money as well. But yeah, like we've applied and had funding through Scottish Edge, Shell Livewire. I think last year we were the Scottish representative in the Shivers Venture final.
Yeah, congrats as well.
Thanks.
You had some money from there as well, right? Like
Yeah.
20,000.
Yeah, $20,000, which was nice.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that we made it to like the final 10 and the global final. So I think that one, a lot of the other ones, it's kind of national competitions, but that was global, and it was all companies that were just driven by purpose. So in terms of the kind of wider benefit, it was just like an unbelievably inspirational competition to be a part of. Aside from the $20,000, that was a nice bonus.
Representing Scotland and Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, couldn't make it as a footballer, but we represented Scotland somehow, which was nice.
So you're like football?
Yeah,
Rangers or Celtic?
both Rangers. Yeah, so we've maybe alienated half of the. Yeah.
We're gonna cut it. Right? We need to protect reputation of those guys. All Celtic fans can be. Okay. So, what about future? How do you see yourself moving forward?
Yes, so we're trying to get some more funding just now. So if we get that, that'll enable us to work on further processes to basically be in a position that we can provide sample materials into industry. So we've got loads of really exciting cosmetics and food and drink companies kind of ready to receive sample ingredients from us. And again, if we get the funding, we'll be able to continue to build the team as well. So we've got a few other people kind of earmarked that if we have the resources to bring them on, then we'll bring them on, because we know that, you know, the key to scaling and growing our impact is to grow the team and to grow our kind of capacity. So we need money to do that.
I read from BBC interview that you're planning to conquer Europe in the future. So Paris, Milan, Berlin, even Angeles. How do you see yourself scaling further on? I mean, is it going to be difficult? Are you going to sell the... have you patent your processes or technology?
So it's a trade secret just now. We might patent stuff in the future, but at the moment, as we look to grow into new countries, obviously that becomes much more important. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
I want to ask about the US.
Oh, yes.
Why there is no US?
Why no US?
As in why
As a
there's
future steps. I think you're like looking forward after Europe, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think because that was it was an interview with the BBC. It was a couple of months ago. I think that quote's probably from, and I reckon that was just that I didn't think of the US when they asked me. I don't think like the US is definitely like on our agenda. We're already speaking to a couple of sort of the bigger sort of coffee chains out there already.
Like Starbucks? Okay. Have you been considering about joining like Y Combinator or 500 Startups Combinator?
I mean, potentially at that point when we're looking to expand, we're also speaking to a couple of sort of potential investment sort of venture funds out in the US as well that offer, I guess, similar types of things in terms of training and kind of the networks and everything that might come with things like the Y Combinator. Again, you know, this is all very much in the future, so we'll kind of explore all the different opportunities hopefully quite soon.
That sounds amazing. Irina, do you think we're ready to move to Blitz? So guys, let's start our Blitz round, and 5 questions, very short answers. First question, what are your top 3 places in Scotland? Scott, you first.
I'll go Glasgow, Iona, and Melanoudrigal, way up north.
Why?
Beautiful white sand beaches, blue sea. It looks like the Bahamas.
Oh,
and it's in
wow.
Scotland.
I didn't know. Fergus,
Okay.
3 top places in Scotland.
I'll say Whiteley Wind Farm because it's got nice views. The Macallan Distillery because it's one of my favourite places ever.
We love distilleries.
No.
Oh, perfect. And yeah, I have to finish on Glasgow as well.
Sure. So, question number 2. What does that mean to be an entrepreneur?
I think for me it means having the kind of passion and dedication to tackle challenges with kind of innovative and forward-thinking solutions.
Fergus?
I mean, you took the definition. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would definitely agree with that. I think it's somebody also that is able to kind of look past the challenges and the kind of difficulties in starting your own company and still persevere, even though sometimes it can be the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I totally got you. Okay, next question. What is the most important in life?
Family and friends.
Family! All people answer that. You can.
I mean, I guess, yeah, if to add to that, I would say seeing more of the world than just staying put in Scotland. So travel, I guess.
Sure. And do you want to travel? And where would you go? Fergus, I think you can go first.
Yes, I would like to travel. At the top of my list at the moment is Canada. I've done other parts of North America, but Canada's always kind of been intriguing to me.
Scott?
Good question. It's too long a list.
Do you want to travel? Maybe you don't want to.
Oh no, I do. It's number 1, New Zealand, for sure. If I had to pick one place, then
Sure. And Scott, where do you see yourself living in 5 years?
living in 5 years. Oh, great question again. Splitting my time between Scotland and other parts of the world.
What parts? Parts.
Let me go for, I think, other parts of Europe, being realistic, maybe like Croatia.
Croatia?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fergus?
I think I would be the same. I don't think I could ever leave Scotland entirely, but I would probably split it between Scotland and San Francisco because I worked there for 6 months and it was one of my favourite places on earth.
Oh, really? Irina and I, we plan to go to San Francisco at some point in our startup career. Thank you guys very much for your time. I know you're super busy, and be especially grateful for sparing time for us and this interview. Guys, please follow Revive Eco social media. It's Instagram, LinkedIn, and what else?
Everything.
Twitter,
Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, you name it, we're there.
You name it. So please follow Revive Eco and stay tuned for the next interviews.